New requirements in Spokane could mean higher costs for landlords across the city.
My concern is asking landlords to pay for these programs.
Tonight, we dig into why the city is making changes and how it will work.
Plus, an update on a story that we have been covering for years. A former Fairchild Airman has been sentenced after pleading guilty to stealing ammunition. Tonight, details on the case.
As our atmospheric river moves out, we're talking rain turning into snow by the weekend.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Well, a staff sergeant at Fairchild Air Force Base will spend the next 2 years in prison for possessing stolen ammunition.
Federal prosecutors say John Sanger devised a plan with other men on base to steal thousands of rounds of ammunition by falsifying records, all at taxpayers' expense.
KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk first reported on this case almost 2 years ago. He's joining us with an update now here in the studio. Kyle?
Well, the military and FBI discovered this stolen ammunition ring while they were investigating Sanger for something else. Agents believe he was also plotting to overthrow the government and harm American citizens. I opened its investigation into Air Force Staff Sergeant John Sanger in August 2021, when 2 social media companies reported the 31-year-old had discussed committing violence to advance a political agenda. According to court documents, Sanger used an anonymous name to post, quote, "They defrauded our election system and are still getting away with it. That means the system has run its course. People have to die." An undercover agent started chatting with Sanger online, and months into their friendship, Sanger invited him to go shooting at a Fish Trap Lake range. During this hangout, the undercover agent met one of Sanger's friends, Air Force Sergeant Eric Eagleton. Court documents say Eagleton bragged about stealing up to 3,000 rounds of ammo from the base a day. Eagleton told the undercover agent everyone at the Combat Arms Training Section knows about the thefts and splits the ammo equally, according to court documents. Sanger and Eagleton were charged and arrested in April 2022. Eagleton was sentenced to 6 months in prison this June as part of a plea agreement, followed by 2 years of supervised release. Eagleton was also ordered to pay a $1,000 fine. Sanger recently pleaded guilty to possessing stolen ammunition. Federal prosecutors say he also discussed targeting the Spokane Regional Health Building and COVID-19 testing sites with Molotov cocktails. During a search of his home, agents say they found numerous patches, stickers, and paraphernalia associated with the neo-Nazi movement. Sanger took an oath when he enlisted in the military. FBI Special Agent Richard Collodi says Sanger violated that oath and the trust imparted to him by the American people. Collodi said, quote, "I am proud of the work of our investigators and partners to quickly bring an end to Mr. Sanger's conduct before his violent rhetoric turned into action." And a federal judge sentenced Sanger to 2 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Mark and Whitney.
Kyle, thank you very much. Now to some breaking news out of Las Vegas. We have just learned that 3 people are dead, another in critical condition, after a gunman opened fire on the campus of UNLV.
Police say the suspect is also dead. As the school went into lockdown today, UNLV sent an urgent alert out into the community, writing, "Run, hide, fight. This is not a test." One man says he and his sister attend the same school. She was on campus at the time of the shooting.
Her teacher just locked up the room, said they're not letting nobody out until they know like the suspects are like gone or whatever.
According to UNLV, the shooter was in a building that houses the business school, and police responded to a report of additional shots fired at the nearby student union. A federal law enforcement official says the FBI offered assistance in the ongoing investigation. Details about what happened are still coming in. We'll be sure to bring you any updates as we get them.
In other stories tonight, the man shot and killed by Spokane police at a North Spokane Walmart over the weekend has now been identified.
The Spokane County Medical Examiner identified the man as 34-year-old Kerry Jones Hilberg. His cause of death was determined to be a gunshot wound to the chest, and his death has been ruled a homicide. Yesterday, we learned from the Spokane County Sheriff's Office someone shouted the word gun moments before the man, who was suspected of shoplifting, was shot and killed.
The Spokane Independent Investigative Response Team is now investigating.
The city of Spokane is requiring landlords to register their rental properties and units in an online database. This could mean more out-of-pocket costs for landlords.
KREM 2's Nathan Hyun is live tonight with more on why the city is implementing these new rules and just how much it will cost. Nathan?
Well, the city of Spokane tells me there are more than 40,000 rental properties and units in Spokane. But for most of them, the city doesn't know whether they're up to code. That's why by the end of this year, the city wants to create a database of where they all are. Steve Corker owns 15 rental properties and one 4-unit apartment.
Inspections are always important.
Corker is the president of the Landlord Association of the Inland Northwest. He doesn't mind the city's new online registry for rental landlords, apart from one aspect.
Collecting the data has never been an objection. What we object to is having to pay for that process.
The city says the goal of their new online registry is to get property information, organize contact information for landlords, and gather data. Code Enforcement Supervisor Justin Ruffing says the registry will also help routine code inspections.
It gives us contact information for property owners, managers.
The new registry comes after an ordinance the city council passed this past March. It focuses on preserving housing supply and maintaining safe living spaces in rental units.
We're not in the business of causing problems for people or making life difficult. We're in the business of making sure properties are maintained.
The city requires landlords to register their property or unit by the end of this month, a deadline that Corker is not pleased with.
December is a challenging month to do anything. And basically, the last 2 weeks of the month are difficult.
There will be a $15 rental unit fee as part of the application process. The city also needs landlords to get a business license if they do not have one. One of these licenses costs $127 a year.
My concern is asking landlords to pay for these programs increases the burden on the renters.
And if you are a renter, there's nothing you have to do. The registry is only for landlords. And because this is a new program, the city says that they will not assess fines if you are late, if you don't register by the end of this year, and you also will not have to worry about late fees, like I said again. In Spokane, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
All right, Nathan, thank you very much. Taking a break from the headlines to talk weather. Heavy rain continued to pour into our Wednesday as the temperatures stay relatively warm.
Yeah, so for how much longer we really have to endure all this rain, we want to send it over to our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
Well, I think if you're at home for the night, you're pretty good. Rain's going to continue all night long, but eventually start tapering off tomorrow. 47 degrees right now. It's still incredibly warm. We've got some patchy fog out there and a lot of rain. Flood advisories remain in effect through the day tomorrow, and I don't think our rivers start to subside until tomorrow evening. And the reason is that rain just continues all night long. You can basically draw the line of where it's coming in. Here's the southern side, here's the northern side, and just expect it to kind of stay in that lane. That means places like Sandpoint that have been hammered the recent days will likely continue to see more rain. It eventually starts tapering off overnight, and by tomorrow, it's kind of light, more scattered showers with snow coming down in the mountains. Snow persists through tomorrow afternoon. We catch a brief break, and by Friday morning, it is back. Here in Spokane, kind of right on the edge of it. Might see a few flurries, I guess, right as the sun comes up, but then it moves out. Eventually, we wind up seeing things kind of wind down and maybe even a little bit of sunshine Friday afternoon. But over the course of the next few days, it goes from warm to a little cooler, 42 and drizzle tomorrow. Flurries Friday morning before the sun comes up, and then widespread snow returns to the region on Saturday.